a chastity belt.
I want to talk about Europe and the UK disarming the populace entirely. Because there are two stories that came out in the last couple of days, which I thought were alarming. So question of the day. Facts and stats that we've always talked about this, they don't exist in a vacuum. So we can compare violent crime statistics, gun control, drug prices, things like that. At a certain point, you do have to decide. Would you rather live in a European-style society that values the collective welfare with admittedly perhaps greater comfort, or the American model that values the individual and rewards industriousness? Freedom versus comfort. Freedom versus safety. What would you rather live in? Let's take away the stats right now. This is the macro. I'd like to hear some comments. So where does this come from? Families in Britain have been ordered by housing officials to remove children's pools from the gardens because burglars could drown in them.
Yeah, that's true.
This comes from the Sun. Landlords told residents they were worried from surrounding area and potential burglars wandering in at night could trip and fall in the water. So we bring this up because this is what's actually happening in Europe. And by the way, we just so happen to have the 911 exclusive of this cat burglars. Wow. It did happen. Dance with Death exclusive.
911, what's your emergency? Okay, sir, calm down, I can't hear you. I can't swim, yeah? And I fall myself in the pool trying to rob a flat.
Sir, what's that? You can't swim and you're drowning in the pool trying to rob a flat. Is that right?
Yes, that's the problem.
Okay, sir, what's the pool look like?
Blue and inflatable.
Okay, sir, blue and inflatable. Okay, I think I've got some help. Listen to me, calm down. I think I would help. You stood up.
That's much better. Thanks. I'm gonna go rob that fat, yeah?
Glad I could be of help.
Yeah. Maybe rape a woman.
It's a human right.
Oh my gosh.
By the way, hit the notification bell if you are subscribed, because apparently subscriptions don't mean anything anymore, and you'll be notified on your phone. Or join Mug Club. That's the only way you get the full show every single day. You can talk about gun control all you want. Okay, self-defense is illegal in the UK.
Yep.
Let's just be
straight out. Yeah.
It's illegal.
Let's be honest.
You think that's moral? Even if it resulted in significant death reduction, which it hasn't, do you think it's moral to outlaw the right to defend oneself? We have a few stories. This has been going on for a while. Good example is an English homeowner had a toy gun, a cap gun, I believe. He detained 2 burglars in his house while he called the police. The police arrested the homeowner for the toy gun. It was used to threaten or intimidate.
Yeah, only in the UK.
Same thing happened with another cat pistol, an old lady. She was arrested for putting someone in fear when she scared off a group of kids. Yep. There have been people charged for self-defense all the time in Europe, all the time. And this is important because I think this was a USA Today article. They were talking about how there was a quote that said accidental gun deaths in the United States are still a significant cause of death per year. So if we look at the CDC report in the United States, we have 146,000 accidental deaths per year. The top things like you'd expect, auto accidents, accidental poisoning is like 47,000, even accidental hangings.
How do you do that?
I don't know.
What kind of screw do you have to have to end up with that stat?
I know one way, but I wouldn't think it result in 6,900.
Maybe going a little too far.
Then way down the list, scroll at the parchment paper with accidental discharge of firearms at 489.
Wow, that's almost a small number.
It's actually the least frequent cause on the CDC lists.
Oh my gosh.
Now let's contrast that with this. This is why I say it doesn't exist in a vacuum. How many people who are just, okay, let's start with this, arrested in the UK for nothing more than speech? Yeah. 3,300 people in 1 year. That's about 9 people a day for hate speech online. A lot of time, by the way. Gosh. Guy was jailed for singing Kung Fu Fighting, charged for hate speech in a karaoke bar.
That's reasonable.
That actually happened. Keep in mind, too, it really matters. Crime rates are skyrocketing.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks there's no crime. It's like, that's an American issue. No.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Here's the thing, too. Like, there's this myth out there that it's the choice between freedom or safety. Like, it's one or the other. Like, of course, a lot of people would say, well, I would give up a lot of freedom for safety. But you see here, it's neither or.
Right.
You don't get the freedom or the safety.
No, you don't get either.
You can't have either.
No.
Both are impossible to have. And especially, just look at the violent crime of rapes across Europe and in England in particular. Like, it's awful.
Well, it's hard to look at those crimes because they go unreported. So let me ask you, what's a scarier thought, okay? Give you an example. Let's say you don't follow the gun manual and you accidentally shoot yourself, or the prospect of living in a society where it is illegal to protect yourself and your family from violent criminals. And this is why it comes down to the society at large. What values more? The value of trying to ensure equal outcomes, or the value of your God-given right to self-preservation? This is what it comes down to. And 2 stories In 48 hours, we say, okay, we're going to have to go back and revisit this. Look this up. Look at the jailings for speech. Look at people defending themselves and the cases and the precedents set all across Europe, but specifically the UK, it is unreal.
Well, and you're making people have to second guess whether they're going to protect their families. They have no idea what some intruder's intentions are. To kill them, to rape them, to just steal stuff from you. They're in the wrong. They have no idea. Look, once you come in my house at night uninvited, and you don't respond to me telling you to leave, I'm sorry, but if you die and I live, that's fine.
This is the one time where I say I don't advocate violence. I advocate violence. If there's an intruder in your house and you are in the house and the intruder knows you're in the house, deal with it as swiftly and as violently as possible, period. You can't, no, if someone asks you to get down on your knees and puts a gun to your head, you can't assume he's had a rough day and he just wants a 99-cent small chili at Wendy's. You've got to assume the guy, if he's willing to put a gun to your head, is crazy enough to kill you. It's not my job.
It's not on you anymore.
The UK is more concerned with protecting criminals than allowing its citizens to protect their families. And there's a reason, by the way, that a crime of passion is treated differently from a premeditated crime. Okay, this is a premeditated crime by the government against its people. This is spine-tingling level scary. Can you imagine how emboldening to the criminals this must be? Imagine you're a criminal right now looking to do a home invasion. You're going like, ha! What? They're making them take away the pose. We didn't have a problem with the pose.
It's called a win-win.
I am nowhere near as concerned about an intruder, the prospect of an intruder, and myself with a weapon, maybe a struggle ensues over the weapon, and I get hurt, versus a criminal knowing they can come into my house. Live in a society where they know they can come into my house, commit heinous crimes, and that there's nothing I can do about it, and if I try to do something about it, they'll see me in court, and they'll probably win.
Yeah. And you probably don't have a gun to defend yourself anyway.
No.
Good luck.
That's why it bothers me when people talk about how they have socialized hell. Well, that doesn't exist in a vacuum. It exists in if you look at the entire picture, what are you doing as far as national defense? Canada, can you protect your own borders?
Not really.
How about the UK? Are you inventing all of the drugs? When they say, well, we don't have to have the kind of gun violence you have in the United States. Okay, but what do you have instead of that? You have homeowners going to jail for protecting themselves. You have skyrocketing rape and stabbings. Mass stabbings, by the way. Mass stabbings. It's a thing. People being stabbed. Mass. This is what really bothers when
every killing is a killing spree in there.
Yes.
It's all the sprees.
And this is why I want to know what you think. People who I just don't like the European model. I'm sorry, and I understand some people do. But when people act arrogant about Americans as Yahoo with guns, well, I'd rather be a Yahoo with a gun than a victim in a society that sends me to jail for protecting my wife from a rapist with a ceramic knife. And I'd rather be in a society that values freedom and the rights of the individual. Over the collective rights of the criminal.
911, what's your emergency?
Yeah, it's me again, yeah? So I got out of the pool, I robbed the flat, I have a massive erection, I've decided I do want to rape, but the woman of the house, is wearing, get this, a chastity belt.
Oh, chastity belt?
I can only believe it myself, I know, yeah?
Oh, bloody hell, pass the phone.
Hey, stop it. She wants to talk to you.
Missy, you got some nerve, but not a chastity belt in your own house.
I don't want to be raped.
That's a bloody old part of rape now, isn't it? It's not a rape if you want it.
It's my house.
All right, listen here, that man in your house is a good man. He's just a man on furlough. We don't want to send him back in the clink just because he can't do a little rape.
I'm losing my erection. It's going down.
Hey, see what you've done. Now, you hear that? He's nearly gone flaccid. Now, what's the combination to your belt?
I don't want to.
So don't have a good one to come on down and take off that belt myself. I'm a little busy. My lawn's a little help. I've got Kevin Spacey on vacation trying to get to the kids' playground.
I don't want to.
Oh, I can see it's going to be waiting. Put him back on the phone, yeah?
She wants to talk to you. Okay, what's that?
All right, listen, sir. I'm sorry about all this. The police have been dispatched. What I need you to do is stay in a safe, quiet place until they get there, okay? Now, have you got something nearby to maintain that erection?
Hey, if you like this video, subscribe or click the notification bell. You should do both anyways because YouTube doesn't notify you if you're just subscribed. You have to hit that notification bell. So if you already are subscribed, hit the notification bell. And if you're not supporting this content, go to louderwithcreditor.com/mugclub. You get the full nightly show, an hour, every day, free, when you subscribe. This hand-etched girthy mug, as well as other programming. And listen, you also get to support Not Gay Jared's Remicade treatment. I don't know what it is,